It is another five-star performance, 5 goals, another win, and we've beaten Crystal Palace twice in quick succession. What's happened to Stoke Alona, Arsenal being Stoke? What's happened to Set Piece FC? What's happened to you only score from corners and free kicks? We only got one today from a corner. Was it just one? One set piece today? 5 goals, 4 different goal scorers, and I believe that is now, I think it might be a record. 6 times we've scored 5 or more in an away game in one calendar year. The first team to do that, I believe. Going away from home and winning games, okay, there's nothing truly special about that. But to smash teams away from home, 5 goals plus, 6 times in one calendar year, clearly it's not easy because I don't think it's been done before. But we really deserved that today with our attacking play. But I must say, defensively, there were a few moments, weren't there? We'll talk about it in a little bit. First of all, Jesus started today, deservedly so. Obviously scored a hat-trick against Crystal Palace just a few nights ago, and he should have got himself another hat-trick today, but he got a double. Sarr equalised between his 2 goals. It was a very quick start. 6 minutes, 11 minutes, 14 minutes. And obviously we scored again, so we went in at half-time 3-1 up, and we were looking very comfortable in this period of the game. And then in the second half, I mean, to be expected, things slowed down a little bit, but we managed to score another 2 goals and just dominated the game. And this is, I think this is pretty much what we would have been getting in the last few weeks if we were just slightly more clinical in front of goal. The difference a bit of confidence makes, it's scary. It really is. So here are the stats. Momentum-wise, obviously, we've dominated a large portion of the game there. We've got very good possession. Our expected goals were good. We actually had one less shot than Crystal Palace, but obviously their chances weren't great. They had a few that were pretty decent. And on another day, maybe they get 2 goals, maybe. But overall, we've definitely come out on top stats-wise. It was a bit of a hectic first half. I felt like we were lacking a lot of control. The difference when we had Declan Rice come in was huge. You could see it straight away, just his presence. And obviously he got himself a goal and an assist, I believe. Actually, we can just see here, can't we? Yeah, there you go. Goal and assist. Unbelievable from Declan Rice, who has been playing too much football. Simple as that. He just needed a bit of a rest, and I'm glad we managed to rest him for that first half and a bit of the second. Havertz was playing in that role today. Do we talk about Havertz in midfield again? Is Havertz effective as a central midfielder? Or let's be honest, it's kind of like an attacking number 8. Basically, similar to what Ødegaard provides, that little bit of forward play. I would say he's somewhat effective, but I think, again, what we're seeing here is just... it's not a position that he should be playing in, but can, you know? I would always prefer to see Havertz up front, and he obviously got a goal today, and he was getting forward. And Jesus is in great form, so he deserved to start. But I'm not going to say Havertz in midfield is woeful and terrible and should never be done again, but I don't particularly like it, if I'm being completely honest. Now, the worst bit of news coming out from this game is, of course, the Saka injury. He's come off after 24 minutes, clutching his right hamstring, and I am a little bit concerned about that because, well, who plays there? I'm listening. Anyone got any ideas? Right wing? Sterling? Well, Martinelli went over on that right side, and I've used this phrase a lot recently. You've got to give players their flowers. You've got to give them credit when credit's due. Martinelli had a very tidy game out on that right side. Needed a goal and got one today. And honestly, you know, I remember when we had Pepe and Saka playing as our 2 wingers, and every now and again, remember, Pepe was left-footed as well, so him and Saka were basically fighting for the right wing position. And I remember specifically in a few games where Arteta would put Pepe over on the left side, Saka on the right, and sometimes would flip them mid-game, and that would be quite confusing for defenders, especially if they've been given specific instructions for that specific player. So their left back would have been told to do this with Saka, and then the other guy do this with Pepe, and it just causes just a little bit of a problem. And I'm really kind of I'm intrigued to see if Saka is going to be out for a few weeks, which is likely. If it's a hamstring injury, he's not going to play in January, I don't think. So maybe Martinelli out on the right side could work. Otherwise, I think it probably has to be Sterling. I don't want to see Trossard on that right side. But the other option, and I'm not seeing any mentions of it, is Nwaneri. I actually think Nwaneri could play on that right side, potentially. Calafiori coming back in today was great to see. He went down with a pretty nasty injury to his ankle. It was Klein, I think it was, just frustrated. And Palace were struggling, obviously, with coping with the Arsenal attack. He's just lunged in, and it was a really naughty challenge. But thankfully, he's okay. And then we didn't get to see much of Nwaneri and Merino because it was such a late substitution. I loved this double sub, though. 58 minutes in, the game was pretty much done, and we were comfortable. Raya had a couple of wobbly moments early in the game, but then he was fantastic. Saliba had a really rare off game for me. He genuinely was poor. I think the first 20, 30 minutes, it didn't look anything like Saliba. But again, in the second half, he was fine. Ødegaard, quiet again. Timber didn't offer too much. Partey was okay. I think, honestly, the fact we've scored 5 goals is a little bit flattering, maybe, just a bit. I just felt like Palace couldn't handle the attack, and we've got to talk about Jesus. Funny enough, it's Christmas in a few days. Sorry, I just smacked my mic. I didn't mean to do that. He's arised in December. Gosh, when this happens, when you see 2 performances like that, you do start to question your own thoughts over the last few months. I mean, it's been pretty much a whole year now, thinking, is Jesus really it? Is he good enough? You see those performances and you can't help but think, but what if? What if we were to sell him, as most fans are calling for, including myself? What if he went to Juventus or whatever and absolutely killed it out there? You know it's going to happen. And I do wonder, I mean, this is going to buy him some time for sure if he continues this. There's no way we're selling him in January. I know that that's not going to happen. And if it was to happen, it would only be in some sort of swap deal where we bring in another striker. There were talks of Vlahovic plus cash, Jesus plus cash to swap for Vlahovic. And I guess the last 2 games put a spanner in the works a bit, because when Jesus is playing like this, when he's confident, man, he took his goal so well. And honestly, what does the red mean? Does that just mean miss, or it was saved? There were a couple of moments in the game where he could have had a third or even a fourth, and I was actually kind of disappointed. I would have loved a double hat-trick in a row. Clearly, he likes playing against Crystal Palace. So whilst I'm more than happy to admit being wrong or whatever, but the facts are, this is the first time we've seen Jesus like this in almost 18 months. This is pre-World Cup Jesus, and I'm still of the opinion that he isn't good enough to be the Arsenal number 9. But if he now goes on a run, if he's staying here beyond January, which I think he will, and if we go on this great run in the next few months and he is starting in our number 9 role, he's banging in goals, then of course that's fantastic. I want nothing more. And maybe then you really change your mind. But for now, it's 2 performances at a very high level. Let's see him continue this. We've got a lot of games coming up, so he's got a lot of opportunities to show us. And Havertz definitely doesn't own that position as of right now, because Jesus is certainly up there. Let's have a look at we should talk about Crystal Palace really quick. They're obviously a bit of an up and down side this season. They have some incredible individual players, and I do think that sometimes they might play it a bit too safe, when actually, if they took a few more risks, they would have done better today for sure. A big chance from Mateta, which Raya saved from a Saliba mistake. That was 2-2, for example. Kamada, I don't know why he's not working out there. I saw that signing in the summer and thought, oof, that's a good signing. Hasn't worked. And without Eze, who wasn't fit for this game, they've only won 1 game without him, I think, this season, which is a pretty shocking stat. So they clearly need Eze. And I've got to say, Nketiah, this is why we sold him. just doesn't offer enough, does he? He scored midweek against us, and it was a great header. But otherwise, in all of those minutes he's had against us, the 40, 50 minutes he's had, just not good enough. And he still waits for a Premier League goal for Crystal Palace. But, of course, they're going to be fine. They're not going to be in a relegation battle come the end of the season. They are 15th after that loss, which really is probably about where they will be, I think, at the end of the season. And with that win, we're 1 point behind Chelsea, but of course they do have a game in hand. Liverpool still have 2 games to play, but one of them is Tottenham. So hopefully Tottenham can do us a favour there. Quick word on Man City, a club that have won 1 game in 12. Why couldn't they do this before? Why is this happening now when we haven't been at our best? But the reality is, okay, Man City are now falling outside of the top 4, outside of the top 5. We've got ourselves right back up there with a pretty good run. Obviously, 2 draws isn't great, but we're not losing games. We're 3rd in the Champions League. We're through to the semi-finals in the Carabao Cup. We've got the FA Cup. It's ours if we want it. Let's be honest, we can do that. We can win that if we really want to. The season isn't over. And look, we're going into a new year. We've got injuries, but we've also got the opportunity to bring in a player or 2. I don't see why we couldn't go on a really nice run here. I think City will also eventually get going again. It's going to be really interesting to see how Chelsea carry on, if Liverpool can keep this up, because I do truly believe when we're at it, we will be right up there. We're a tough team to beat when we're playing well. We just need to be a little bit more consistent. And look at this, the goal difference for the top 3, all on 18. How are Man City on 4? Anyway, thank you for watching, guys. Before we go, I've got a couple of comments from you guys. Magnitude AFC, he says, very good attacking wise, which we've missed all season. Defense was a bit shaky. Pre-World Cup Jesus is back. Exactly, I agree. Ruben says, Jesus redemption during Christmas, I love it. Saka injured worried me, but I was massively impressed with Martinelli. Also agree. Great performances all round, and Raya came in clutch. Yeah, despite 1 or 2 wobbly moments in the first half, he was good. And then go to Nelly. So happy with Lewis Skelly's recent performances. Looks so comfortable out there. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And we are lucky to have him and Nwaneri. Absolutely unbelievable. 2 very good young players coming through. And with the players that we let go of in the summer, whether it was on loan or permanent transfers, it is obviously giving them a bit more space to grow. But it was a risk. Is it going to pay off? Is Nwaneri going to win us games in a really dire situation? Is Lewis Skelly going to keep us a clean sheet in one of those last-minute moments? Who knows? But thank you for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. I believe this is our last game before Christmas. So if you only watch my Operation Arsenal videos, I wish you a Merry Christmas. I'll be back after, of course. We've got a Boxing Day game, I believe. And obviously with my career mode content at the moment on pause while we're streaming the Como career mode, make sure you check it out, and I will see you for the MGH United career mode coming in just a couple of weeks.